What is up, everybody, and welcome to a brand new video of a Russian guy giving you the brand new updates of what's going on inside Russia. And what we could see from the news that are appearing every single second is that we're on the brink of Third World War. And that is what Vladimir Putin is saying. You might be wondering, Ivan, what are you talking about? Well, it's not going to be sounding good because a month before Biden's presidential term, he authorized Ukraine to strike deep into Russia with ATACMS missiles. France and Britain also authorized Ukraine to strike deep into Russian territory with their Scalp and Storm Shadow rockets. From the information I've been getting, first of all, these missiles are planned to be used against the Russian and North Korean troops to protect Ukrainian units in the Kursk region. Putin said in September that long-range strikes deep into the country would mean a NATO war against Russia. You might be wondering, how does this got anything to do with NATO? Well, Vladimir Putin was saying that to do those strikes deep inside into Russia, you need to use satellites, imagery, and satellite data from NATO satellites, and you need NATO specialists to program and coordinate the rockets to actually fly and hit an object. What I find interesting is that how comes Russia can shoot missiles into Ukraine, but then when Ukraine is given the ability to shoot missiles into Russia, the red line is crossed over once again? What are we going to be seeing? There's a lot of threats that this is going to be the new Third World War, the new nuclear war. Are we going to be building fallout shelters once again? Are we going to be building bunkers in the backyard and supplying it with canned food, canned water, and all that stuff? We will have to see how this will work out, but I don't think that Russia will be using nuclear strikes against NATO countries. But at the same time, I'm actually being afraid right now because those rockets can really do some damage. I'm talking about the Storm Shadow rockets, the ATACMS rockets that can really do damage and also hurt a lot of civilians as well. Because from what I know, the American missile is like a cassette missile. So when it goes down, it goes into like a bunch of particles where it could hurt a lot of civilians, which is not going to be great. And I can remind you that my family still lives in Russia, and I am very, very afraid for them. If you have still not subscribed to the channel, I would really appreciate if you could hit that like button and the subscribe button to not miss out any of the informative news. Obviously, after news like this, the Russian propaganda has begun to scare with nuclear war in response to Ukraine being allowed to fire ATACMS missiles at Russia. Let's check out this video.
If the senile Biden really made such a dangerous decision at the end of his presidency, then it is absolutely not necessary to officially announce it. The missiles will then fly unexpectedly, counting on surprise. They may announce it, but in any case, the leaders of England and France, Starmer and Macron, will learn about it tomorrow at the G20 summit in Rio de Janeiro. They themselves are in favor of hitting deep into Russia with their Storm Shadow and Scalp missiles, but only if the Americans also agreed to hit with theirs. That is, the United States, England and France are going to test Russia's strength and Putin's determination together. Putin warned and explained everything in detail. The Ukrainian armed forces themselves are not capable of launching such missiles. Such tasks are simply technically beyond their capabilities. The officers of the United States, England and France will develop flight missions, program target designations and press buttons. How will Russia respond? The answer can be anything. Any. It is not for nothing that our nuclear doctrine has been adjusted, as President Putin had repeatedly emphasized. Missile strikes deep into Russian territory will change the nature of conflict. Its very essence will become a radical escalation. After all, the United States, England, and France are directly entering a war with Russia with all ensuing consequences for their own territories and those who inhabit those territories. And the residents of Ukraine who live next to the airfields where the F-16 is based would be better off moving away from them.
So we could see the Russian propagandist has promised, I quote, any response to the US, even threatened nuclear war. So now they're basically saying, you know what? It's all your fault, America. We are going to be nuking you now. I actually cannot believe that we're in the stage of when we are literally living during the nuclear threat, where we are living through the Cold War once again, which I have not lived through, but some of you watching this video have probably lived through it. How is this going to end? Nobody knows. But the tensions are becoming more tense. We will just have to be seeing what happens next and to realize, do we really need to hide in a fallout shelter anytime soon? What is interesting is what areas are actually affected with the rockets that Ukraine is able to use now. I actually have an image of the map that we can look into, and we could see it says the areas where the rockets can hit. The GMLRS rocket is the more purplish one. It could hit Belgorod region and inside of the Russian-occupied Ukraine territory. And the American ATACMS actually can go pretty deep. You could see it could literally be really close to the Moscow region. This is a big game changer for this war, because having rockets like this being flown around the place, first of all, it's definitely escalating all of this. Definitely 100%. There is going to be a lot more explosions happening in Russia, and I'm guessing in Ukraine, because Russia is really going to be retaliating this. They're not going to be a big fan of those rockets flying in. I just want this whole war to end. So many people are dying daily. Peaceful civilians, animals, pets, soldiers, everybody. There is no winners in this whatsoever. There's just young people dying in a war. I really don't know where the future is gonna bring us to, because this is just very scary times we're living in. Russia, Ukraine, the rest of the world, we see world conflicts all around the place, and it is just very scary. So a little bit of info about what is actually an ATACMS rocket. It is a solid fuel tactical ballistic missile of the surface-to-surface class. Its range is up to 305 kilometers. The ATACMS warhead carries about 170 kilograms of explosives. They can be launched from HIMARS or M2070 mobile launchers. The peculiarity of the ballistic missiles is their trajectory. They hit the target from above. Such missiles always pose a problem for air defense. Russia knows how to shoot down ATACMS, but not with 100% probability of interception. These missiles are the longest range of those in service with the Ukrainian army. So this is the longest that the rockets can fly now. Oh, I don't know, guys. There's probably a lot of people that are happy with this, you know, having rockets that are going to be going deep inside of Russia. At the same time, I can understand some people, but at the same time, it's still going to be destroying people's homes, livelihoods, just like in Ukraine. People consider the war between Ukraine and Russia like watching a football game. This is not a football game where you could be like, oh yeah, let's go and throw rockets at them, or let's go and throw rockets at them. This is human lives that we are talking about right now. Literally human lives. You cannot be betting on this like a sport. Obviously, what Russia is doing is completely wrong. But don't forget one thing, that there's humans on each side of the conflict. Some are brainwashed, some are not. And this is just the way the world works right now. Very, very sad. But I hope there's going to be a way to stop this conflict, a way to settle peace, a way to stop the killings. That would be one of the best things to happen before the new year comes. But I doubt that that is going to happen because, first of all, you cannot put the two countries to talk to each other about a peaceful agreement, because Russia has stated that if Ukraine wants peace, they have to give over Lugansk, Donetsk, and some other regions away to Russia. Obviously, Ukraine doesn't want to do it because it's their land, and we understand why the heck would you just want to give out a chunk of your land over. It's going to be very hard. There's going to be very hard to do any negotiations. There's going to be no negotiations. This just has to... A miracle has to happen for all of this to stop. Also, the State Duma speaker, Volodin, yes, this guy on the image right here, said that Russia could respond to Western long-range missiles with weapon systems that is not yet used in the Ukrainian territory. So they're threatening with some magical rockets that can be used inside of there. I quote, "It is possible that new weapon system which the Russian Federation has not used on Ukrainian territory will be used. We understand that the next step could be a response from the United States. And then our response is inevitable," the State Duma speaker said, hinting at the possibility of a nuclear conflict. According to him, Biden dreams of eternity and wants to drag all of America and perhaps the whole world with him. Expanding its use, of course, can cause damage, but it will not change the situation on the battlefield. I empathize with this. It will only worsen the fate of Ukraine and its future, he also said. So we could see that the Russian government is saying that Biden wants to take the world with him and the America with him. I don't know what he means, but that is some gruesome stuff he's talking about right here. What I find really weird is that this was accepted, as you remember from the first part of the video, this was accepted 1 month before his presidential time is over. So he is making sure that Ukraine gets the help from him. Now, how the new administration of the United States is going to handle it is going to be very interesting to see. What do you guys think about this? What is the future of this conflict? Do you guys believe that peace is going to be happening soon? Because I truly happen that something like a miracle happens and all of this goes away. Russia becomes a democratic country. The war stops. Would be amazing. I hope that you found today's video informative, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and if you would like to support the channel, you could check out my Patreon in the links in the description and my cost/fee in the links in the description as well. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.